All right, let me get a browser window open here, and I don't really have a whole lot to talk about today. Talk about some exciting CVE stuff. Let's make this big again. I think I made this small. Yeah, there we go.
And you're not sharing yet either.
Yeah, not yet. No, I'm just about to here share screen. Pick a window here. This one? Did you do the right one? I think that's the right one. Great. Okay. So you're looking at this thing here, and let's go to HDF5. Just the most important thing to talk about. So yeah, so the most important thing that I want to mention here is, so as of now, let me go in here. This is the 114 branch. And so all the branches now have this CVE list in them, but that's version 114 for this one. And there's a handy table that will show you all the stuff. The 110 one is not up to date yet in terms of like having these like pretty green checks and stuff like that. I'm putting that together and then verifying everything in terms of like where the failures are. So there's a red X if it did not pass and a green check if it did. And so this is 114s. And so you can see that 114 is CVE free with a couple of exceptions, right? There's these are these top three ones here as annotated at the bottom. I've got the annotations down here. These are the GIF tests, the GIF tools, vulnerabilities. I plan to remove the GIF tools from the library, so I don't really care that much about fixing them. Most people really aren't making heavy use of GIFs these days, except in like Facebook animated stuff. So I'm less concerned about shoving these things into HDF5. So we'll pull these out, put these in a separate repo, and then they won't even be a part of the library anymore. This one here, the 2021 310909, this is not an actual vulnerability. This is just somebody saying that they fixed some CVE issues by removing HDF5, which at the time had CVE issues. So this is not really a useful thing. This one here, there's no reproducer. The person complained, they create a GitHub issue for us. If I crack this open and this goes to MITRE's website. Those are the people who maintain all these CVE issues. And these are important enough to where like in GitHub, if you type in CVE anything, it'll link to MITRE. So that's why we care so much about these and not as much about OSS Fuzz, which we're going to start addressing soon. Talk about that in a sec. But if we go in here, this goes into a GitHub issue that was filed. And there are a bunch of these that are filed at one time. And unfortunately, this reproducer one here does not have anything in it other than a text dump of this. So there's no file for me to look at. And it's basically, looks like an infinite loop and it does a Stack Overflow. And so unfortunately, they're just showing me like the last couple of these things. And so I can't really tell like what the problem is. So so yeah. So without this thing here, I don't know, without a reproducer file, I can't do anything. So, and we did make some changes to the H5E code that would prevent this stack loop here. So as far as I'm concerned, until somebody comes up with something that shows that this still exists, this is fixed as far as I know. So yeah, so there is that, right? But I can't do anything about that. And the person who reported it is like a graduate student in China. So it's difficult to contact them. And they haven't been responsive to anything that we've tried to send to them. And it's through GitHub. I can't really email them through GitHub or anything. So yeah. So and then this is also in we have merged all these fixes to 112 and to 110. So every version of the library that we have now is CVE free. And so if we go back here to take a look at the release schedule, let's go to develop here, and then scroll down. So here we have this release schedule. So when 110.11 releases at the end of this month, that will be CVE free. When 114.3 releases at the end of October, that will be CVE free. And then when 112.3 releases at the end of November, that will be CVE free. So CVE stuff is done. And if we look in here, there's a little badge that is green. And so what this is running is the CVE HDF5 repo. So there's this test script in here, which is how we check for these things. So in here, this is the test script that we use, and that's what it runs. And so on every commit, we make sure that we don't regress. And it's got a little handy badge on here that will yell at us if we regress, because there was a regression actually that I had to fix. Something had been turned into an assert elsewhere in the library, and so this failed. So, oh, and there's one other thing, full disclosure, that I should mention. It turns out that one of these, if we go into, the issues, in here, there is one of these that if you build it with the static library, it actually fails. And so we'll have to go in and fix that and see why that, and that's really weird. Maybe there's a memory issue going on. It's very strange that it would pass with the shared library and not pass with the static library. I don't understand why that is true, because it's the same code. But yeah, so there's that. And then speaking of releases, since we have all the CVE issues fixed in 1.12.3 now, I don't see any reason why we have to release it here. We can release it earlier. And so since we're doing a release of 1.10.11, we might as well just click the release button twice for a different thing, create two very similar newsletters, and just get this out the door. It's a little bit of extra work in September, especially since we're going to be preparing for this. But I would just like for all these maintenance branches to be done, right? And to not have to worry about any of this stuff downstream anymore, except for 1.14, which is very similar to develop. It makes pushing changes down to that really easy, and to here it's a lot harder because there's more changes. So yeah, and then we did say that in 1.12.3 we would try to move the chunk iter stuff down there. I'll probably try to do that this week and make sure that those things are in there. As far as performance improvements, I'm pretty sure the stuff has been merged into 1.12 that we converted a few things from skip list to hash tables, and so that stuff can go down in there. I think there's a few other things that I might merge in this week. But again, as far as I'm concerned, this is all ready to go. So we might as well just get it out the door. Because every time I see a pull request to 110 and 112, I die inside a little bit, because I do not want to spend staff hours maintaining those branches anymore. There's no reason for it. 114 is stable, it's solid. And if you want the 110 API, just build it with the 1 API. That's a configuration option. We can build the 114 library with any version of the HDF5 library's API. So there's no point in keeping this alive anymore. And I would really like to focus on other things that are more useful than maintaining these little branches, like improving the S3 VFD. So yeah, so that's what I have. That was the most important thing, is that we finally did it. We fixed all the CVE. And so for next, now that we fixed the CVE issues, of course, what's the next thing? So we do get reports from OSS Fuzz. Somebody is working with that on our behalf and sending us, so I get emails from them. So we'll address issues that come from them. And I recently just enabled having the, there's this OSSF scorecard thing that I just set up, and I just ran it, and I haven't looked at the results yet. But there's this thing here, it's GitHub action. And somebody suggested that we try using this and correct anything that this identifies. So I'll take a look at that. So we'll, and also we just recently restarted Coverity scans. So some time ago, probably around like 2015, we went through and we fixed a lot of issues that Coverity had raised. And so we recently set that up, and they sent us a bunch more stuff for us to look at. So we'll try to address that as well. I don't know if that can be automatable as a GitHub action, or if we can get reports that go into a badge or what, but we'll try to make the results of that stuff obvious, so that people can see that we're doing well or not well, depending via that. And there was a time where I tried to set up CodeQL on this, and it produced like a whole bunch of stuff about format strings and not a whole lot of other stuff. There was a lot of weird false stuff that didn't seem to make sense. So I'll probably try to investigate that and see if we can configure that to do stuff that makes sense for the HDF5 library. But that's pretty much what I have. So we're working on for the past week or so is to get all that going, or past couple of months actually, is to get CVE fixes and to get those last bits across the finish line. So that's pretty much what I have now. Anybody have any questions? Anything they want to talk about?
Dana, hi. Uh, uh, um, I found several websites that I don't know how synchronized they are, and I can look further into it. CVEs are published not only on Metro and website, but there are other websites. Do you know how, if they overlap, or because they may not be overlapping at all?
You mean the ones that say like CVE dash year dash number?
Yeah.
Those are all officially done through MITRE, and anybody else is just mirroring them.
Oh, okay. So you're convinced that there is only one site, a MITRE site, which is official, and everything is a mirror.
Yeah, as far as I know, right? Like from what I understand, the MITRE stuff, like they're kind of I don't know exactly what the relationship is between them and like the government but I know that they're considered like the official place to complain about security stuff. There's other stuff that's out there, but the CVE ones are like considered, I guess, kind of authoritative. And like I said, if you go into GitHub and you start typing in CVE, dash whatever, it's important enough to where that will turn into a link. And then you can just go right to jumps right to the MITRE website. So
Yeah,
I think
I
MITRE is, go ahead.
recently accidentally found, and I was on the road. I didn't notice. I didn't write it down, but it looked like a different way to report, and I was not sure how synchronized they are. And there were new ones from 23, I believe. But I will watch. Okay, so
Well, if
mhm.
I mean inside that one repo, there is like at the top of there's like a CVE. Hang on, let me reshare my screen here. This one here. Share this again. So looking in here, right? So this is the CVE repository, CVE HDF5. And so there's the CVE list.
Right.
And this is, for every single CVE that's been filed against the HDF5 library that we know of, right? And so they go up to 2022. Now, if I go to this link here, this
Uh-huh.
goes to miter.org, and it's searching with the keyword of HDF5, as you can see in this link up here. Let me make this bigger.
Right, and this one I know, but I accidentally I found a website. I believe it was from report, CVE report on security, and I found 2023. I remember that I didn't see it on your website. I will look more. Okay,
Okay,
go on,
yeah,
my
take a look.
question.
And there's weirdness here because there's this new website here, right? www.cve.
Right, right. Look at there. Yeah, what is there? Because it can be.
So I
Uh,
think that the problem is that the searching still
uh-huh.
only use this,
Oh, I
right?
see.
And so if there's new ones that you know of, right? So find CVE records by keyword. Um,
Try to search that site. What will happen? Will you see 2023?
well, that just went there. That was weird. Yeah, see, this is a legacy search site. Search by keywords across, and then maybe we can have to go in here. Is there like a list of all of these? How do we search for this in here? I guess we can search in the repo, right?
Uh-huh.
Five. Let's see. 2019, 2018, 2019. I don't see anything.
Yeah. No, it is not this. As I said, I was on the road. That's why I saw it on my phone. I will try to find.
Yeah, if you find it, let me know. Then
Okay.
I can link to it and we can point to wherever it's at. I mean, there are other things, right? Like there's things like OSS Fuzz, right, that has stuff, but they don't have the same format for reporting things where it's like CVE dash year dash number.
But I simply, surprised that no one reported on 2023. because it may be duplicates, so that's why they can be maybe triaged. But I will watch now. So
Yeah, I don't see
uh-huh.
see like then there's I don't see these are all referring to older ones.
Uh-huh.
People
Okay.
say that there's like some Sousa thing or something like that. Think about this. Yeah, see, this is I've seen these before. This is the old like 10.4 stuff, things like that. Yeah. So these are as far as I know, these are all closed. But if you find new stuff, then let me know and I'll add it to the table because it may not be showing up here because of the way that this is structured.
But for now, you are sticking with the Mitra site, not CVE.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's the official one,
Okay.
right? And if you want to like do this like keyword search, right, then it's going to go here, right? And then this goes to it's all. I mean, yeah, we'll have to update this thing as we go forward, right? There, not this one. I closed it away. The HDF5 CVE thing as we go forward because once they switch to their new site next year in 2024, well, all our links will probably start. I don't know if they're going to have automatic redirect, but we should adapt it so that goes to CVE.
Okay.
Org.
Okay. I will keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that was a long road. We've been like working on these things like on and off for like years and years and years and years and years, and we finally got over the finish line. And so now they're all done. So that's nice. Everybody can feel more confident in HDF5. Yeah, and this also too, having it down to 0, now when they show up, I'll try to pull people in and have a little all hands like debugging sessions that we can fix this stuff. If it can't be fixed trivially, we'll get people in, we'll fix it, and we'll try to get that stuff addressed quickly so that people will know what the patch looks like if they're really concerned about it. I'm not so sure that would trigger a special release or a patch of the software. Now that we're on GitHub, maybe it'll be easier to create patch releases. And we could do so if there were CVEs that were filed. So the next time somebody files one, we'll think about doing that, creating a patch release for it. Anything else?
I have a parallel question, if I'm allowed.
Yeah, sure.
If you know off the top of your hand, there are actually two questions. There was one issue when we allocated for data sets that have zero dimensionality, meaning no data was intended to be written. And it was declared chunk because how user program is, the flow is. We were still allocating B3 for chunks. And it was eating, of course, memory. And we promised to fix it. Did we fix that or not?
I have no idea. You don't know the Jira issue off the top of your head, do you?
No, sorry, but it was after, I believe, it was triggered by the work with Nova science data, Mark Paterna, and I was reading their paper, which Quincy was one of the authors, and that was one fix that we promised. Also, I was wondering, so in parallel case, when data is not compressed, we are allocating chunks and we're writing field value unless properties use not to write field value. But I'm wondering if we are doing the same thing in the case when dataset is declared compressed, which then does make sense even to allocate, and I don't know what we're allocating. But documentation doesn't say, at least I didn't find. So I don't know if that came up.
I have no
So
idea.
are we still so the question is, are we still allocating space in parallel case for chunk compressed data sets?
Okay.
And I can send email to Jordan and Neil.
Yeah, that'd probably be data sets? Because I do not know if that work has taken place. I have not, I don't recall any discussions of this.
Right.
In
And I'm not
many years
sure
of playing.
even we have, if you can, well, if we even have Jira issue, or not Jira, or GitHub issues. But maybe we do. So if you can check Jira, maybe it was not migrated.
Well, they'd probably be fresh in people's heads because we've been going through
Right.
the Jira and the Jira issues for this, but I have not been
Mhm.
doing that work. I'd have to ask Jordan.
And I will try to join on Thursday. I was traveling again, so I couldn't join last time.
No worries. Yeah, I'll check. I mean, because now's the time to do it, right? Because we have 114.3 coming up, and we have
Right, and those
money from ECP to work on parallel features, and that's one of my goals for the 114.3 release is to have that be the best possible, parallel release, right?
Right, and those are great optimizations because what people do now, they're processing multiple HDF5 data sets for data analysis, and for example, creating other data sets and other files. And really, those two things, eating memory and preventing people. So it's like, how do I do this? Because it takes too much memory when there are a lot of opened HDF5 files.
Mm.
So they're discussing several techniques, but it's like, oh my gosh, we should be fixing that. And people have to remember that I still was arguing with Quincy that we were allocating space and filling it when we create a chunk data set in parallel. Okay, we allocate it, fine. But for compressed data set, it does make sense because they will still, processes ranks still will be communicating to allocate the space because chunks will be first may not be written at all and will have different sizes. But I don't think we did this optimization.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar. That does not sound like anything I've heard of people talking about.
Yeah, and compression is used, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very popular feature.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in parallel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should check. Get that in the queue. Anything else?
There was, I don't remember, I believe it was on forum, and Hartner posted, and he will present this quantization or something of, and he was asking if HDF group is going to do the same because it improves compression ratio. And I don't know if you are prepared to answer because I believe he will be there at eHug.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him. Yeah, here.
And I believe he posted it on forum. I saw it on forum.
Okay.
When they release, because they have very good results. It's they work with Charlie Sanders on compression plugins.
I was gonna have a shameless plug for the European Hug, but it looks like the link on our webpage is broken.
No, it's working now. It was down, I believe, yesterday because I was trying to check. They posted schedule, and now the program is available online.
It's down again right now.
Oh, I just look at it. Just a second. Let's see. I have it on my screen.
Yeah, Les and I were looking at it earlier. So they've had some issues, but I'll post the link in the chat. Just keep checking if you're.
I can access. Maybe I'm. Wait a second. Maybe it's cached, but I can access it now.
Yeah, it says forbidden. You don't have permission to access event
Yeah,
39.
that was the issue. Try to reopen the browser. It's working for me. I can share it with.
Let me shift. Let me control click and see if I can do that.
Yeah.
For me too right now.
Huh. Maybe it's caching for me, but I can access.
No, I mean it works for me as well.
Oh, works for all folks. Okay. Yeah, but they were down.
Okay.
Robert says, yeah, we're in the chat, people. It works for other people.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's not for me though. Let me try.
So yeah, the tentative agenda is posted. They are still accepting proposals for talks, I think until the 8th is the deadline.
Yeah, because the third day doesn't have it's a French's tutorial and there's no other tutorial.
Yeah, they've got some plans, but just hasn't not quite firmed up yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're not ready to publish, I think.
I'm glad that they allocated a lot of time for discussion. That is, people are like, nothing works. We have
No,
progress.
yeah, it's for some reason I'm blocked. Like I just tried Edge and that didn't work either.
Uh, ping,
Bizarre.
ping, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot be blocked. They're not dictating.
Try my phone. See what it says here. I have it in the chat from it's a Zoom. I don't have Zoom on my phone. Yeah. That's really weird. Okay, now it's thinking.
So related, I'll mention I put the link to the YouTube playlist for the US Hug event from August. So I've posted that. I'm just activating videos and I'm almost done getting them all online. So if you'd like to review what we did at the US event, they should be online now.
Waiting to see if my phone is sad. Maybe they just hate Comcast as much as I do.
Okay, then I found the website I was thinking, and it is published. It's not CVE number, so we're good.
Okay.
It's published date.
But yeah, look, and my phone says no too. So, um, and that is weird. Yeah. So for me, it does not work. Maybe they just don't like Californians blocking us. Anyway, it's September 19th and 21st in Hamburg, Germany. There's remote options if you just want to join in remotely. So please join, interact with us, watch our videos. That's all I have. Anything else?
Let me paste that website because it's kind of different website, so you're
Sure.
just aware of this. And I don't know what it is. I didn't.
I mean, we went through in the past, year, right? Like during this year, we have gone through and we've hardened the file IO layer for metadata. So we should have significantly fewer issues from fuzzers. But I think we're still probably gonna see them for some time. And so we'll play whack-a-mole. And if we discover common patterns, we'll try to fix it.
Mhm.
But let's see here. Security vulnerabilities published in 2023.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah, this is not from 2023.
those
This
are
is
all. But if you search, you can search the site also by product, and the latest product is 113.1. So people just there is a lag uh,
yeah.
in releases. Okay.
But yeah, but all this old stuff is all fixed.
Uh-huh.
We're all good there. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, but we still like even now, like after we've hardened stuff, like OSS Fuzz still like pings us with stuff. So we'll address stuff as things come in. We'll address the coverity issues that still exist. I mean, I think there's still one thing that Valgrind picks up, one or two things that Valgrind picks up um in the 114 library. But most stuff is fixed now. And I think 110 is Valgrind clean. because we had a strange issue from last week that we were looking at, and I ran the 110 library through Valgrind, and everything was happy. And that Valgrind, it was fsanitize equals address, and make check passed. So at least as far as fsanitize is concerned, we're doing pretty good. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming, and I will see you guys in a month.
And I'll see you in 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Very
Bye.
excited. See Germany.
Yep.
Again. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.